today to introduce a very accomplished gentleman from our community who happens to also serve as the Associate Producing Director of CATCO. I had the pleasure of attending the CATCO Gala Saturday night, and I'm really hoping they announced, top secret until then, they announced next season's schedule of shows, so I'm hoping he will share that with us today. But you know, I think of CATCO as theater, a great place to go see theatrical productions, but they have a very strong component in education, and Joe is going to talk to us about that today. Let me tell you a little bit about Joe, though. As I said, he's the Associate Producing Director of CATCO. He's worked at regional theaters all over the United States, and he's an award-winning actor, an award-winning director, and award-winning producer. He has been involved in over 200 professional productions. His favorite directing credits, I always like to ask people this because it's kind of fun, what included productions with Opera Columbus and the Columbus Symphony Orchestra. He's the immediate past president of the Central Ohio Theater Roundtable and the director coordinator for the Greater Columbus Arts Council Playwriting Fellowship Program. He's a proud graduate of Ohio Wesleyan University and a member of the Actors Equity Association, which means he's a professional actor. And he is the American Labor Union representative for actors. He represents actors. So without further ado, here is Joe Bishara.
Thank you, Joanne, and thank you for having me here today to speak with you. So, Joanne asked me if I could share a little bit about our upcoming season, and I'll do that first. Our 2016-2017 season will begin with a production called Being Dr. Ruth. So if any of you remember Dr. Ruth, it is a one-person show showcasing Dr. Ruth. Unfortunately, we could not get the actual Dr. Ruth. But that's our first show of the year. Our second show of the year is called Gross Indecency, and it discusses the trials of Oscar Wilde, who was a very, very accomplished playwright whose career kind of came to a very quick demise due to some scandals that occurred in his personal life. In January, we will be doing a production called Baskerville, the Sherlock Holmes story. So if you're familiar with the play 39 Steps, where there's five actors playing multiple characters, well, we're going to do that with The Hound of the Baskervilles. So we're really excited to bring that to Columbus. It'll be a Columbus premiere. The next show is a little racy. It's called Sex with Strangers, and it involves two authors on different sides of the publishing spectrum, one who is an award-winning accomplished author, and the other is a best-selling author of, let's say, Fabio kind of stories, romance stories, and so they meet. And then you see a battle of the sexes as well as of the minds. Our next production we're really excited about. We have collaborated many times with Herb Brown, and we will be doing that once again with another world premiere by Herb Brown, which is tentatively titled Henry Ford and Sons. And so that again will be a world premiere. And then we will be closing our 2016-2017 season with a production of I Do, I Do. For those of you who aren't familiar, it was a very popular vehicle for Robert Preston and Mary Martin. So you might be seeing me on stage in that. So, I'm happy to talk about CATCO and the work we do on stage for days. However, I really wanted to share with you a little bit about our educational and outreach components today. What is the role of the arts in molding an individual? That question carries tremendous significance. Today, arts are perceived as unimportant as compared to strategic subjects. I'd like to share with you how CATCO uses arts as theater for mechanisms to light the spark of overall development. Initiative that's always been integral to the company's mission is the work that we do for the community in the way of outreach of students of all ages within our diverse communities. I'm going to start at the beginning of the cycle. With the financial assistance of PNC, CATCO currently provides a theater residency for underserved preschool students. We've developed a preschool program called Wordplay at Hilltop Learning Center Preschool. CATCO artist educators provide lessons that integrate drama and theater with reading, helping children make crucial connections between the words on a page and the world around them. Educational research has indicated that those connections are critical for nurturing successful readers. we're currently working with 44 preschoolers in 2 classes once a week for 8 weeks, providing students with over 350 hours of direct contact with theater professionals. The primary objectives for the residency are to provide direct services for low-income preschool children by the way of cross-curricular lessons that integrate reading, theater, and fun. And we also assist teachers learn theater techniques that are easily transferred to other lessons, as well as we conduct events that engage the parents in activities with their children. So CATCO artist educators meet with the preschool classrooms, there's currently 2, for 8 consecutive weeks, once a week. In addition to that, we have a 3rd class of 20 children that serve as a control group which don't receive any theatrical instruction. We design special pre- and post-tests for these young children to help evaluate them. With the small sample of students, the results may not be scientifically valid, but they were remarkable. In a control group, the highest test score on either test was 60%. In fact, 4 students' scores even dropped on the post-test. However, there were very different results with the 2 classes that we actually worked on theater skills with. The highest score on the post-test was actually 100%, and 68% of the students scored 80 or better. 1 student soared from 20 on the pretest to 100 on the post-test. Moreover, in one of the classes, the lowest score on the post-test was 70%, an amazing success rate for preschoolers. CATCO's in-school residencies for elementary and middle school students involve artist educators going into schools and collaborating with students who are considered at risk of failure in the classroom for 20 consecutive weeks. Our educators assist those at risk by unlocking their potential by facilitating the creation of plays. Activities are conducted in a nurturing atmosphere that helps students self-develop confidence and provides a multidimensional way to learn the academic subjects necessary for success. CATCO employs a variety of evaluation tools for those residencies, including pre- and post-tests again, surveys of students and the teachers, and observation logs kept by our staff. Our at-risk residencies achieve both short and long-term objectives. Some of the short-term objectives include a forum for children to discover new talents and develop skills through theater, help children develop a better mastery of challenging academic subjects with lessons that directly connect to the Ohio Department of Education standards, provide students with a working knowledge of the foundations of drama and theater through lessons that directly connect to those ODE standards, and help children achieve what educators call deep learning, such as dividing a large task into smaller steps to master it more quickly, and incorporating assessment as an integral part of the learning process. Probably the most important thing is this: we help children develop life skills, including develop more self-confidence and learning to work as part of a team. Last year, through our evaluation process, we received several revealing comments from the students in the program. When asked about his favorite part of a residency, one of the 4th graders said, "I like how we had to practice and practice for it, and then we went on stage and we were ready for it." That's great. 2 other students summed up the experience by saying, "You have the time of your life and you are able to do anything. I learned never to be afraid and how to take a deep breath and go for it." Experiencing profound success after working at something over several months is an invaluable lesson for children, and it is a strong benefit of our residencies. The sense of achievement means a great deal to anyone, but it is especially powerful for students who often struggle in the classroom. Long-term goals include helping to see the world through someone else's eyes and to entertain some of life's essential questions, such as, who am I? Why am I here? What is my responsibility as a citizen to the world? Our at-risk residencies directly address significant elements of school curriculum in 14 classrooms for 4 underserved schools: Highland Elementary, West Broad Elementary, Westgate Alternative Elementary, and Starling Pre-K through 8th School, all of them located on Columbus's near west side. The students at each of these schools daily struggle with the effects of poverty, and there's been ample evidence of the devastating impacts this has on academic performance. For example, the most recent statistics available for West Broad Elementary from 2013-2014 school year demonstrate a pattern of low achievement. Only 22% of the 5th graders passed the state achievement test in science, and only 32% of them passed the math test. These residencies reach out to children who learn in non-linguistic ways, such as through physical activities or through interpersonal connections. It helps them understand the lessons on a deeper level and helps them become more engaged in learning. Moreover, our activities help children experience success in the classroom, many of them for the first time. The work being done in these schools would not be possible without some of our partners, who I'd like to brag about right now. American Electric Power, the Cardinal Health Foundation, the Harry C. Moore's Foundation, Honda of America Manufacturing, the Ingram White Castle Foundation, the Reinberger Foundation, Riley Family Foundation, and State Auto. I've got more. In addition, we have built upon our original residency model by piloting new programs at Starling STEM STEAM Pre-K through 8 school in Franklinton and an organization called Learning Never Ends. The Starling collaboration is a multi-grade residency with more than 200 students in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th grade working together to write, design, produce, and perform 2 short plays about the past, present, and future of Franklinton. This pilot showcases cross-curricular learning, peer-to-peer learning development mentorship opportunities, cultivates collaborative skills, and subsequently increases academic benefits. Performances for the at-risk residencies at West Broad, Highland, Westgate, and Starling Pre-K through 8 will take place next week at our Columbus Performing Arts Center located on Franklin Avenue. If you're interested about finding out more information about that, please come see me at the end of our time here today. So, now I'm going to go a little bit off script. So, we are constantly looking at CATCO in ways to assist the community. And that doesn't necessarily mean going into the schools and performing the residencies. Sometimes it's really just opening our eyes and looking at what's going on within our own audiences at our own performances. In 2015, in the December 2015, we were producing a remount of a very successful production of A Christmas Carol adapted by Patrick Barlow. It was a sell-out run of the show, so every single seat was sold. We have an organization that we work with frequently at CATCO as kids called Learning Never Ends. And Learning Never Ends basically assists adults with severe developmental disabilities gain additional skills. Well, Christmas Carol was on both the CATCO and CATCO as Kids season. So the folks at Learning Never Ends decided that they wanted to have some of their participants attend a production of A Christmas Carol. It was an 11 a.m. matinee, and so some of our patrons that traditionally attend our 11 a.m. matinee had not met our friends from Learning Never Ends. Unfortunately, our friends at Learning Never Ends, when they're very excited, they sometimes vocalize that, okay? So our friends at Learning Never Ends met our friends that had traditionally attend our 11 a.m. matinees. And they weren't exactly met with a lot of friendship. I had multiple people come up to me and say, "Can you please do something about that individual that's making noise? What is their problem?" We recognize that we have a commitment to this community to educate from not only for youngsters, but also all the way until being bigger youngsters, as I like to call it. So, my boss, Stephen C. Anderson, and I put our heads together and we said, how can we make a difference so this type of stigma isn't continued to move forward? So we came up with 2 different ways to do that, and I'm very proud to share those with you today. CATCO is now working. This is a brand new 2-year project that has been wonderfully funded through the Ohio Arts Council with an organization called Kids on the Block Incorporated. And Kids on the Block Incorporated is a troupe of educational puppets designed to teach children about disabilities and differences. It originally was created in 1977, and the company was developed to help fill the need of children with disabilities to have their non-disabled peers understand and accept them. I'm proud to say that CATCO will present programming that introduces children to spina bifida and autism to 30 different schools over the next 18 months. Efforts in educating children about differences have made it easier for them to understand and accept physical differences, but there remains a stigmatization of people with behavioral and developmental differences. So that's one way we're trying to pay it forward. We're trying to make sure that some of the youngsters in our community understand that this is just something that happens and it's okay to be different, and this is the reason why people are different. So we said, how else can we help? Well, that organization that has been dutifully attending productions at CATCO and CATCO as Kids for the past 10 years, we're now working directly with them. In the fall of 2015, CATCO launched a 12-week initiative with Learning Never Ends, the organization that provides lifelong learning and wellness opportunities to individuals with developmental disabilities that culminated in a 20-minute adaptation of A Christmas Carol. Prior to the performance, the lead CATCO artist educator came on stage for her curtain speech and shared a very touching backstage interaction between Andrew, the young man playing Bob Cratchit, and Chris, the young man playing Scrooge. Andrew shared that he was very scared. "I'm nervous. I'm so nervous." Chris took Andrew aside and said, "You've got nothing to worry about. We are a team. We are more than a team. We are a family." Over the course of 2016, CATCO will continue to collaborate with the instructors at Learning Never Ends to create 4 additional performance opportunities featuring differently abled adults. Another type of education partnership, again, transcends the stage, and this is a partnership with the Ohio Attorney General's Office. Because of CATCO's expertise in child development, CATCO has provided workshops for now 12 consecutive years to help train law enforcement officials on the appropriate ways to question children who may have suffered some type of physical or sexual abuse. I could tell you more. However, you have some visual aids on your table. So that's just half of what we do as far as education and outreach. There are still other significant programs that we do. We are actually in 14 different schools across central Ohio providing different types of residencies. Some of them mirror the at-risk residency as far as playwriting is concerned. Others are month-long intensive residencies which focus on helping kids create musicals. Another special project that's actually culminating this week is a multi-grade residency in Hilliard, where the 5th graders at Scioto Darby Elementary wrote plays focused on their school motto. One play about taking care of others, another play about taking care of themselves. The final play is taking care of the school. So after the 5th graders wrote their portion of the play, the 3rd graders have now been rehearsing for the past 7 weeks, and they'll perform that. I could inundate you with additional statistics as well that further justify the art that's being created at CATCO. But I feel like after all I've said now, I'd kind of be preaching to the choir. What I'd like to leave you with is this. Theater truly is a shared experience that illuminates the mysteries of our humanity. Its magic has the power to transform us, whether on stage, in the classroom, or in our diverse communities. I want to thank you again for having me, and I'd like to let you know how honored and humbled I am to represent CATCO here today, and to also create theater alongside the students and citizens of Columbus that delights, challenges, and transports. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
With all those programs, how do you staff them? How many people and where do they come from that go out into the schools to do that work?
That's an excellent question. Thank you for asking it. CATCO began 5 years ago a program called the Artist Education Apprenticeship. So from year to year, we'll have anywhere from 3 to 5 artist education apprentices. And these are people that have just recently graduated from theater with an arts degree. And then they spend the first 3 weeks of their artist education apprenticeship working alongside myself and our producing director, Stephen C. Anderson, and our education coordinator, Andrew Protopappas. So they go through a rigorous 3-week artist education training where they learn how we conduct business as far as the way of our arts education residencies. And then they spend the first half of the year, the first 10 weeks of the year, shadowing either myself or Stephen or Andrew as we go into the schools and help in the facilitation of the children writing the play. So the apprentices get to be right beside us, get to meet the kids, see how we interact with the children, and then the second half of the year, they then direct the plays that have been facilitated by the full-time staff. So that is one way we do it. Sometimes, if it's a more aggressive residency, sometimes it's actually someone that you might have seen on stage at CATCO who also has educational experience. So some of the music directors that we employ for our season shows at CATCO or CATCO as Kids then join us in the schools or in an after-hours program, and they help compose the music with the children. So we have on staff currently, we have 3 full-time staff devoted to the facilitation of the education programs in addition to the 3 to 5 artist education apprentices. Yes?
Given all the cuts that are going on in performing arts and visual arts in the schools and the other demands on teachers, are you finding it harder to get the attention of schools to work with you, or are they more more grateful that you're filling a void, a very sad void.
Yeah, I think it's more the latter than the former. Our education program has never been as robust as it is now, and I tend to believe that's because, well, I think that we're doing a better job at CATCO of letting the community know about our programming, and also it's because there's been such significant cuts, and so we're very fortunate that we have a lot of organizations that want to collaborate with us. And that we've also been very fortunate that we've had a lot of sponsors recognize the need for the arts in the schools and in the school systems. Yes?
What's the geographic area that you're covering? Is it strictly Columbus, or do you expand out to the metropolitan area?
We do have a modicum of expansion in the more rural areas. We conduct a 6-week residency in Logan County that we do there, and we've been doing that for the past 5 years. We're also trying to work closely with some of our more rural areas in Portsmouth and in Zanesville in creating new programming for the upcoming school year and for the summer of 2016. If I had my druthers and funding was not an issue, we would be involved in every single elementary program in Ohio. I love everything we do at CATCO, and I feel incredibly fortunate to be a part of an organization that wants to educate and advocate for the community. But I have to tell you, being on stage is one thing, directing productions and having the chance to collaborate with artists at the opera and the symphony is also wonderful as well. But to watch a child evolve over the course of a school year and see them become comfortable and confident in their own skin, there's nothing like it. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you for your time.
What's the best way for us to support you?
The best way to support CATCO, feel free to reach out to me. If you look inside the CATCO's Kids Education brochures, you can find my phone number and or my email address. Or if you have a specific school, and that's we can start the conversation. If you have a specific school that you would be interested in helping bring this programming to, we would love to do that. If you are already in a community where we are serving them, then I would urge you to reach out to me and you could come and see the work that's being done, and then we can have an additional conversation about potentially expanding that work. But we're very, very deeply committed to not only continuing the work that's being done, but expanding the work that's being done and providing additional opportunities for the children in all of Ohio. Okay, thank you.
All right, everybody, have a great week. Be a Rotarian all week long.